We can
Yeah.
answer them as they go.
How long typically are you going on these?
An hour.
Cool.
If you need to cut it short, that's fine.
No, that's fine.
Okay. Sorry, guys. We are live. We've been live a little bit, but I just want to introduce you to this incredible gentleman here. His name is Greg Lemay. Greg is a Windsorite, just like myself, and I know that this is viewed all over the world. We have different people tuning in anywhere from the UK to all across the United States and Canada. So I just want to say thank you, Greg, for taking up your valuable time tonight. I know you're a very busy man. And if you could just share a little bit, I've heard a little bits and pieces about your story, and what I heard was absolutely amazing. So if you could give us a little bit of background about your story and how you've overcome those obstacles to be as successful as you are today.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. On my end, I started off, as an 18-year-old tool maker, more like a 16-year-old. I ended up leaving my friends at one high school and went to another, and I ended up enrolling in an OEAP program, and I became a tool maker at the age of 16. Basically, I went through that program. Things that obviously, to me, I was like, this is not the lifestyle I want, working, and convenient now, right? Or whatever. It's pretty crazy now because if you think about it, I didn't like going to work in the dark and coming home in the dark, and now here we are doing this with a business, right? So I guess working for yourself's a little bit different, right? So I went through that, and basically, yeah, I was a pretty young single father, in my early 20s. My daughter's the best thing that's ever happened, right? She's honestly my best friend, my little sidekick, and she does some funny things, and she keeps me in line. Let's just put it that way. If I do something that I'm not supposed to be doing, or I say something out of line, she puts me right back in gear. Yeah, she's been honestly the probably easiest kid around, and I don't say that just because she's mine, but honestly, this kid gets up, she does her own breakfast, gets the stove going, cooks, does her thing, whatever. She's been a huge part of what I do. Kind of like daddy's number one fan in a way, right?
That's usually how it goes with us girls, though. Our daddies are our number one fan.
Yeah, it's not what I expected, and being a dad, to a daughter, I just kind of went, how's this gonna go, right? But no, it worked out well, and it's obviously working out well. She's giving me a hand in a lot of things, like not just in life, but in business and whatever, right? Just putting things into perspective for me, right? So then that happened, and then, we got into the business end. Like I am a paralegal also. I'm a member of Law Society of Ontario. I did that as something on the side. I graduated 4 times from St. Clair College. I graduated from the U. So, 5 post-secondary programs. And the funny part about this entire thing is that I've graduated 5 times, and I don't work in anything that I've graduated from. So you kind of look at those little things, right? And you go, a lot of folks, they say, hey, listen, push your kids into the trades or push your kids into certain things, that aren't so much school oriented, in terms of post-secondary. And I think I'm kind of that end. But at the end of the day, I look at school and say, there was a lot of things I learned at school, in those post-secondary programs that I use today. So I still use them in a way, but I don't work in the field, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
I mean? They apply to my business. They apply to how I do things in the community, how I go about my everyday life. Even like, for example, I'm a paralegal, like I said, just an even thought process and, oh, well, what about the legal ramifications of this or that or the next thing, right?
Right.
So, it does, it's all played a part in a way. Like I said, like, do you want me to talk about the business or
first of all, I know
you have another question here?
Well, I have another question because I heard in some of your stories before some of the struggles that you've had, growing up and things like that, different obstacles that you've had to come. So would you share a little bit about those obstacles that you had to overcome?
Yeah, absolutely. in grade 4, I remember my family, my pediatrician bringing, calling my mom, and I had to go in there and do this test, or I don't know, whatever it was. Anyway, make a long story short is that, I have ADHD and, a few other things on the go. And I was pretty highly medicated from grade 4, to a point in grade 10 where I said, I'm not taking this stuff anymore. And I didn't.
Right.
And we stopped getting refills, and that physician kept calling saying, hey, why aren't you taking these things? And I just haven't. And do I notice a difference being on those medications versus now? Sure. But you learn to cope with those things, right?
Right.
Obviously I have some mental health issues as well. Obviously I was in the Drive magazine and a few other things that went on there, but at the end of the day, like I said, you got to have these little wins every day. And I think that's what I said, is that you have to set yourself up every morning to not have a loss. And then when you have a loss, at least if you have, you had 4 or 5 wins, and a little win could be something as simple as making your bed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got up, you did something productive. It's, you know what I mean? You're at, you made your bed, you got up, you had a clean breakfast. Yeah. Those are the little wins that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a scratch ticket or
No.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like going to the mall and picking up a beautiful lady. Like that's not what I'm talking about. It's simple things that you keep your life on track. And those are things that, for me has been very important. Little messages on the wall, like you said, things that I purposely put on my chalkboard as a little note the night prior, so I see it when I leave. Right. And say, okay, yeah, we're on track today. Stay there, and let's move.
That's powerful, because when you see those affirmations, those positive affirmations, that's already setting yourself up to win too. And like you said, for those of us that have experienced mental illness and anxiety and depression and things like that, just getting out of bed and making your bed, that's a huge accomplishment for some people, especially when they're right in the pit of that depression or right in that
and that's a huge problem, right? Is that, like I said, it took forever to figure out these little wins. Going back, I remember, like, even as a younger kid, like going back and thinking of these things and going, I didn't figure out these little wins until about 5 years ago, maybe 4.
Right.
And you start to develop these little wins, and those are the things that keep you on track to try to get through the day.
Right.
Whether it's mental health or whether it's something else, right?
Right. Our friend Tim here is saying hi to us this evening.
Hi, Tim.
Tim's from Pennsylvania, actually.
Hey, listen, we're out in Pennsylvania.
Oh. Tim, where in Pennsylvania are you? He's paging all our fellow. I took a course with Tim to do live video, and he is from, hold on, I'll tell you. I got a package from him. Oh my gosh. Shohola, Pennsylvania.
Okay, so I'm a regular in Pittsburgh, and obviously Philly. I hit the Pirates games all the time. Pittsburgh is a spot for me. That's one of my, like, saving graces. Okay, like I try to get to Pittsburgh at least 4 or 5 times. Get on per year. I try to do Mario Lemieux's run, the 6.6K every October.
Oh, that's awesome. It's 3 hours from Philly, and for some reason I can't hear you now. No, and it's not me this time. Tim, can you hear?
How about now?
Oh, now I can. Yep.
So he's more on the East Coast.
Yeah, he's 3 hours from Philly, 2 hours from
3 hours from Philly. So I know where he is. He's just above kind of Rochester and on its way up.
Yeah.
Because if you cross over to Buffalo, and then it's about 7 hours in. So yeah, nice to meet you.
Now it's good.
But yeah, no, like I said, with Pittsburgh, I go there all the time. I'm not a Penguins fan. I'm obviously a Red Wings fan. But anyways, I go there, and we hit the 3 rivers, the Allegheny. We get near the intersection. Okay, I know where you are. And Yeah, like again, that's one of the things that, between Tennessee and Pittsburgh, those are the things that have kept me on track, and just that's my cool down place.
So that house that you posted in Tennessee, that was truly your cabin?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
It was myself
Okay.
and okay, so hold on a second. I had season tickets for Tennessee for 10 years. It was my friend, myself from
Right.
here. We
Right.
met another guy, Johnny. He's actually, his daughter drives on the circuit, Wilkinson, out of
Okay.
Alabama. She drives stock car, and
Right.
I think she's the number one rated female. She's only like 13 or 14.
Oh
I
wow.
think she's the number one rated female. So her name's JoJo Wilkinson. So, anyways, them and another guy out of Kentucky, the four of us ended up purchasing this thing a couple years back, and we just used it for football, and we rented this thing out through a couple, projects out of Seaverville, and we made our money. But again, it was. I'm sad that I let it go. But at this point, again, now my daughter talked me into this RV now, which I'm sitting in, and hence the bunk beds.
Okay, the way he says it, guys, but you have to see, it's a beautiful trailer that he's got. It looks like a fifth wheel from the picture that I seen, or maybe not.
It's not. And
It's not? Okay.
The reason why I did not do that was because, again, I want to be able to pull this to Tennessee every other weekend.
When we can cross the border again.
Yes, exactly. So I figured for football purposes, I can pull it. It runs on solar panel. It's wide open. I can take this thing and go every other weekend, and it's only weighs 5,000 pounds versus 10, 12, right?
Right.
So you try to keep it light enough.
Okay, so you say every other weekend, but then you just announced that you're having a ghost restaurant with your barbecue now. Like, okay, so for those of you that don't know, Greg is like hugely successful. He also owns Alpha Pro Floor Care and Machine Repair. Plus, now he wants to do this side kitchen gig, and you're also a ward counselor as well.
No, I ran for council in Ward 7.
Okay.
I did lose by about 200 votes with 12 people in the 12 people in the pot. So the bottom 9 folks, they took about almost like 58% of the vote. So had that happened, again, we're a year away. I am going to enter that race again. I will tell you that now. So come May 1, I will be right back into that race.
Okay, because I don't know if you saw it, but I had Lisa Valente last week, and she said, "Oh, yeah, Greg can tell you about how that." She said you beat her out of that. So I'm like, I don't know. There's a story here, but I don't know.
Yeah, no. Listen, Lisa and I, we she's a good friend. She's awesome. I like Lisa.
John?
Yes, I do. He's a Ward 7 resident. Hi, John.
Okay.
How are you? Yeah, he's a nice man and that lives in Ward 7, and I think he's a Lemay supporter, and yeah, like I said, we'll go from there. And at the end of the day, I think it is what it is. But I think anytime when it comes to the elections, you got to respect the electorate, and and that's something that I deeply do. I respect how people vote, and that's fine. And hopefully you can you pull through, right? I think this will be my last kick at the can here next May, but life goes on.
I gotta find out what ward I'm in, because I don't think I'm in your ward, but I'll figure it out.
What's the area where you live?
South Windsor.
Okay, so are you north or south of EC Row?
I'm at EC Row.
You're EC Row in South Windsor?
Yeah.
You could be Ward 10.
Ward 10, okay.
So that would mean you probably have Jim Morrison.
Okay. Well, we just moved here a year ago, so now we haven't had an election or anything like that, so I don't know.
So wait a minute. I picked up vegetables at your house, did I not?
Yeah, you did.
Yes, you have Jim Morrison.
Okay.
Jim Morrison. Jim Morrison's a nice man. He's he's a retired banker. He's a nice guy, and yeah, I think Ward 10's been fitted well with him.
So tell us a little bit about your business. You have it listed here as a small business, but Greg, I've seen you running off your butt for the last couple months here. You are super busy, and share with our audience what it is that I can't even say. I'm sorry. Go
Alpha
ahead.
Pro floor care.
There we go.
So a funny little story. I was actually having this conversation today. A little story about this business was that this never. There was no intention to start a business. There was never. Again, I didn't care about it. I didn't have any intention to do this. A friend of mine, Rodney Mulder, who owns Pizza Pipes downtown, he owns a couple other ones. He owns one in, Tecumseh, and I think he's got another one Lakeshore or downtown, whatever it is. He said to me one day, Greg, there's a $300 machine. You should buy it. And I went, yeah, no. I said, because if I need that, if I buy that, I need 500 other things. And he goes, just buy it. So I bought this stupid thing at the time, right? And then a friend of mine calls me and says, hey, Greg, I'm about to lose one of my enclosed trailers in my divorce. Why don't you just buy it? And I went, okay. So now here I got this machine and a trailer. Okay, so that's kind of how this started. And then, to put things into perspective now, it's like now I'm sitting on 7 trailers, 3 trucks, a bobcat, 2 curbing trailers, and I'm 71 jobs in a hole right now that I can't catch up on. Because every time I try to knock that number down even to 60, the next door neighbor's out with his card. I need you to do the same thing. So,
wow.
So I've never had a business card. I don't have a website. I don't advertise. I've never spent 1 penny on advertisement ever. Mm-hmm. And I won't, because I don't want to be, at this point, like like we're into Toronto right now. We're into London. We're into, pretty much every single bar and restaurant in Windsor, Essex, from breweries to car dealerships to tool shops to the mall and then the machine repair end. A good friend of mine, Alex Carbonero, he's the sales rep over at Merchants Paper Company in Windsor, which is actually across the street from my family's business. Basically, he had brought me in, and they are a rep for Karcher, which is a German company that's basically they deal out of Mississauga, locally here. Like I want to say locally in Canada, right? But their dealership is in Mississauga, and basically they make 300 different machines, from pressure washers to $250,000 Zambonis that people use to clean. Well, I'm the certified tech from Karcher for here to London. So basically anything that gets sold from here to London, I go fix it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And for those of you that are from the States, so London is about an hour and a half away from us, and Toronto is about 3 to 4 hours away from us. So that's how many diameter this gentleman is working with it when he says the London-Toronto area. For those of you that don't have no idea.
Again, I don't have a website. I don't have a business card. Yeah. I don't have anything. I have a cell phone number.
Yeah.
So I'm the truck and trailer guy. Let's just call it that. But somehow I became the floor guy, the driveway guy, the pool guy, the next guy, the machine guy, and then it just. I'm at a point right now where it's almost like either I got to expand or it's gonna break.
I was gonna say, like, do you not have any staff?
Yes.
Okay. And are you hiring?
I'm at 5 right now. Here, I've got 4 in London. Right. 6 in Toronto, and at this point, it's like I try to catch up, and you can't.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because, like I said, I was at one physician's house, last week, and as I'm doing his driveway and sealing it, 7 neighbors come out. Hey, this one. Just bill us. Now you got a problem because there's another.
But that's a good problem to have.
Well, no, it is. But I also work full time.
Right.
I also work full time at the Catholic School Board, right? So.
Right.
Right. So that is a big issue.
That is a big issue.
So again, when this started, I figured to myself, hey, look, let's if I can pick up one floor, like one driveway or something a week, make $400 or $500 extra. Good. That's how it started. Well, now it's not like that. Now it's, I've got a chart board that you don't want to see. because I can't keep up.
Well, if you need help and if you're hiring more, let us know and we'll help you get more people.
Yeah, exactly. For sure.
So if you came in late, Greg first had shared with us a little bit about his background of having like ADHD and a mental illness or mental illness.
Right. Mental health issues, yeah, for sure.
Okay, mental health issues.
No, you're right. I'm not even giving an eye. You're 100% right. And now if you go into Lisa's new little video,
I haven't seen that yet, but I
haven't seen it yet. But I've also struggled with alcohol for 18 years.
And this is a man that has turned his life completely around and is not using excuses. And look how successful Greg has become, because you said you set yourself up to win each morning, and that's you have to. You have to.
If you don't, if you don't, you're drowning.
Exactly. I just want to say hi to our friends, Nancy Deborah. She's from LA, actually.
Hi, Nancy.
Our friend Jennifer Zahari. She's from Wisconsin. Hey, Jen.
Hi, Jen.
She is an amazing support to me. She said that definitely speaks highly of your work, for sure, Greg. And definitely an overcomer, and that's why I asked Greg here tonight, because I've like I said, I've heard bits and pieces of your story, and I'm like, this guy is amazing. And
I don't even know. To be honest with you, I don't even know if it's that. I think if you look back at any of my uncles, everybody in the Lemay family, we just work. We're like horses. We just work, and from the businesses that we own, in the city, and the hours in a day it's not normal. But again, people say to me, "Oh, you work 17-hour days, man. That's crazy." And I said, "Well, it's not when you like what you do. It's not work. You're out there, you're meeting people, you're doing things, you're making good money, the money's coming in, you're enjoying yourself." And I think that is why I continue to do what I do. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense to you?
Right. Oh, for sure. And also to share a little bit with our viewers too, at Christmas time, you were head of organizing, getting we've fed over 600 homeless, or less fortunate or needed help in some way anyways.
Yeah. So if you go back to November 2018, I remember watching football, and I said to myself, you know what? In the next week or so, I'm going to go homeless for 48 hours. I want to stay outside. I want to experience what that's like, and not have any food, not have any money, not have anything. Just go out there with my coat and stay outside in the winter. So I did that. That kind of rocked my world for a good year. I had a social worker for a little bit after that, just some things that went on. That obviously made front page of the Windsor Star. I was on CBC across Canada, on the radio. In the force now, I think I raised almost $150,000, somewhere in that area. Wow. Don't quote me in that, but I'm just kind of guessing off the top of my head. Somewhere it's well over 130 for sure. But the whole thing is that I wanted to experience that. Two of my good friends from childhood, they are homeless. They're addicted to drugs. They are on our streets in downtown Windsor, and I wanted to experience a little piece of what they go through every day, and that humility, right? Mm-hmm. Asking for $5, $10, or and I did that, and people had no clue. And it's just interesting the difference you get, right? Even being a business owner and having money to going to buy something versus going to a car saying, "Hey, do you have a quarter for me?" And then the looks you get. So, I have a soft spot for these folks, and they're, I don't know. Like I said, I go to great lengths to try to help them in many ways. This past Christmas, with the help of Macro Foods, there was a bunch of realtors that jumped on. There was a bunch of business merchants paper. I can't even think of half of them right now. But anyways, that obviously made the paper as well. But we did 623 meals. I know the number. And I'm sure, like I said, we're macro food shut down for me for the day, and we cooked. They cooked all this food for me and had it all prepped and ready, and I had over 55 buyers. And the food went out to folks that needed it. And I look at the holidays and say, like, my parents say, oh, we bought you this, this and this and this, and I'm like, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't need it. If I need it, I'll go buy it. Give it to somebody else that needs it. And that's just it. So at the end of the day, I think that, and my daughters love it, right? So she helps out a lot. She preps the food. She I think at this point I started this little project called, well, I passed it on now. So anyways, the point is that there was clothes coming in. I got 5 partners in the mall, and basically what they do is if a coat hits the floor, instead of throwing it out, they bag it, because they're not allowed to sell it because it has dirt on it, or a shoelace is missing, or a zipper. We're at now over 10, 8 months ago, over 10,000 pounds that I brought in. We weigh it, and it goes back out. It goes, I've supplied Ward 2 with Fabio Costante. It's gone, supplied pretty much everywhere. I went from, you pick it, Ronald McDonald House, to John McGivney, to you pick it around here. So at the end of the day, the stuff is going back out into the community. I've got somebody that is now, repairing, the coats, adding the zipper, adding a shoelace, whatever the hell is the problem, right? So basically, the reason why I got thrown in the bag, those things are now fixed and back out, being serviceable with a brand new tag on it, which is beautiful.
That is amazing. Right. I didn't know that. I knew the other stuff, and I know you also are in with the Downtown Mission as well, because I remember seeing you the night that they were doing their 24-hour mission for that as well.
So Ron basically Ron Dunn started the 24-hour bench talks, which I think started in 2008. Oh, sorry, that might be maybe 17. I could be wrong. Whatever, right? Between 17 and 18. And then when I started, Ron and I didn't really know each other. And then the original Sleep Out, which I did in November of 2018. And then the next year we get together and we called it the Sleep Out Bench Talks together. Right. And then we did it last year again. I'm not sure if that's going to continue. What I mean? I respect Ron. I like what the mission does, but like I said, I think I gotta try to move this around a little bit too, right? I can't always be attached to. I don't like being attached to one horse, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So for our listeners, what would be the one tip that you would give them to, go from overcoming to being as successful as you are in all areas of your life, really?
To be honest, that's kind of a loaded question, but I think for me,
or several tips.
It's not. It's not. I think it's just about not giving up. Right at the end of the day, there was many times where I wanted to just, that's it, right? And you're comfortable in your little circle and your little zone, and you're good, right? But at the end of the day, I don't know, some I don't know if it's the OCD or what, but every little while, you just mentioned me now cooking and doing this little restaurant thing on the side here, which I don't have time for, but hey, let's do it. I really don't have time, but we'll get it done, because that's what we do. At the end of the day, those are things that I enjoy. And I think at the end of the day, if you get back to the meat and the potatoes, at the end of the day, it's what you enjoy. Exactly. Find something you enjoy. You know what I mean? And you're comfortable, in your own skin, and to me, like, I don't know, like most people say, man, you just worked, like I said, 15 hours today crushing driveways and whatever. Are you tired? I'm like, no, that wasn't even work. That wasn't work. That was easy. That was fun. You know what I mean? Like, that's, and I think that's it, right? You gotta find that, as much as I chirped my buddy Rodney for this $300 machine at the beginning, Like now I'm probably $230,000 into equipment, and thank God for Rodney. If that makes sense. As much as I hated him at the beginning, I'm going $300. Like, that sounds like a lot of money. I'm like, really? Now?
Right.
What's $300? Right? Like, I try to. I don't know. Like I said, I think the biggest thing is finding something that you like to do where it's not work. It's, you're not only improving your life, you're improving others' lives. And at the end of the day, like I said, I think maybe why my business has been successful without having a business card and a website and all those other little things and advertisement and radio and whatever. I think, again, when you do good things and you do things for the right reason, it comes back.
For
So
sure.
I think that's what that's probably why it is what it is. It makes any sense.
Right.
So I've had people that have offered, hey, listen, can I give you 100 grand, 30%? No, because if I exit, this business doesn't work. It works because of what I do. Does that make any sense? I feel like I'm taking somebody's money for what? Unless you're there to help me work and learn the trade, learn what we do, and work every day just like I do, your money's no good.
Right.
Because I could take your money, but that business is going to flop.
Right. Well, and it's like you said, you've built all this without a website, without a business card. But I do see that you post things on Facebook, and you're basically posting your finished product. So, and like you said, you do so much in this community. And I think the reason why people are attracted to you is because you have given, you've sown in to the kingdom. I'm just putting that out there. You're sown into the kingdom, and you're sown into people, and you've sown into the community. Makes sense.
You cut out there.
Oh, sorry. I said.
Last thing I heard was something about kingdom and the community.
Okay, so what I had said was, your business has become successful without those tools because you've put yourself out there. You've sown into our community. You have put yourself out there in different things. But I think it's successful because you've loved on the community. Now the community is loving back on you. Is how I take away.
Yeah. I think you're probably 110% right. I was at a house yesterday, and we started chatting. And this random guy that I was doing something for, and he's like, everybody. No, it's not the point of knowing everybody. Well, maybe it is. Maybe that's part of the problem, right? Is that, like I said, but again, I think it comes down to trust factor. I think it comes down to, if you were to search my name on Google, you're going to find 100 articles there. If you hit news, the point is that I think it's trust factor. It's the fact that I do good work, and I think it's that, what I mean. People know I'm here to stay, and I invest in my community. And I think at the end of the day, if you invest back in your community, that's what we need. You know what I mean? That to me is kind of, everything.
Exactly.
It's either my daughter and the community, and that's it. So I don't know.
And like I said,
you could be right.
We were talking a little bit before we went live, and I said, the way you love your daughter is absolutely precious, and it totally is. If you've ever seen any of Greg's social media, you always see his daughter there, and she is so precious. She's there helping him every step of the way. Like you said, I remember you showing pictures of when you were doing the dinner at Christmas and things like that. And, that speaks volumes, because a lot of kids don't want to be a part of that. They just want to play their video games, and they want to just be with their friends. But that speaks something that you have raised your daughter to have those values and to be out there, helping the community right alongside you. So that's totally commendable.
Yeah, she's, like I said, I don't have to ask. She just jumps in, right? She's good with it. She, you know what I mean? I tell her what we're gonna do, and she says, okay, let's do it. And that's it. I don't need to. It's not like I'm like, hey, listen, if you go to this, I'll buy you ice cream. Like, no, she just does her little thing, and she's got her little personality. And I think that's a reflection of, not just what I do with her, but her mom too, right? And I think she's always been in a spot where she's had multiple homes and multiple bedrooms, being, her grandma, my parents, to mom and dad, because I ended up, like, I left her mom when she was only like 3 months old. So, she's adapted well, and she's not 9. Let's just put it that way. She's like 25 in her mind. Like I said, she fires up the oven, she does her thing, she whatever. Like there's no telling her what what I think. She just does her thing. And I know, and again, I think, even in my childhood, I went, we were, when parents always say like, oh, where's your kid? What's 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock? They should have been home. With her, I don't need to do that. She knows. And I don't know if that's a reflection of how I raised her, but I think, again, it comes back to mom too, right? And obviously somebody's doing something right here. And again, the kid's very focused. She's good. She has good marks. I've never had to yell at her. I've never had to do anything. She's the simplest kid. It's almost like having an adult with you. Like, so.
Maybe I should introduce her to my stepson. He's 9 too.
Uh-oh.
We can have a play date, Greg. She can rub off on him.
bring him to the trailer.
He needs to be around people. He's been I don't know. This pandemic has hit him real hard last week. Let's just say that. He's been like by himself for the last almost like year and a half. Not by himself, like he's with us, but with other kids. I mean, once in a while, he gets to play with his friend, but it's been rough.
Yeah, I think that's a problem for most people, right? Is that again, like, I don't know. With my daughter, we never really like had that when she was even like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. We never had that little. We didn't talk to her like a child. We talked to her like an adult, and maybe that's why she is how she is. But again, I think like she's very independent, and she hasn't really had those friends around, like you're saying. I think that's obviously a problem, not just province wide, but countrywide. And me, like I said, me not getting to Tennessee and Pittsburgh, I'm sad. But like I said, I think that's a big problem for most kids, right? Is that they're not getting, that attention or that little bit of social interaction at school. Like I just look at, like, obviously I work in a high school too, right? And I'm looking at it going like, can you picture this? Like, I'm trying to think to myself going grade 11, grade 12. Can you picture that these 2 years were my grade 11, grade 12 year? Those were like the prom, soccer, hockey, the things that you're not allowed to do now, right? And I don't know. Those are some of my like best memories, right? Is like playing high school sports. Yeah. Like, so I don't know. I can see your point, and I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how the kids bounce back from that, but
I don't know. Well, I feel bad because my oldest nephew graduated from grade 12 last year, now graduating from OAC this year, and there's nothing, like no acknowledgement of graduation. They get a sign on the front lawn if somebody else had put it there. So it's our friend Robert.
It's pretty sad, eh?
Yeah. Robert's all the way from Alaska, by the way.
Hi, Robert.
But yeah, it's sad. Like, I feel bad for these.
Yeah, no, it's hard to put into words, right? Because at the end of the day, like I said, the high school and college and playing sports and those things that we did, like I still playing the men's league in the over 30, still playing the men's A, and with soccer and not, I haven't had that in like 2 years, and it's not, I don't know, it's challenging, right? Because those are some of the things too that I used as those coping tools to get through mental health or get through, the things. That was me time, right? If that makes any sense. So for me, like, I'm working all week. I got my daughter or whatever, this on the go, that on the go. But hey, listen, I knew on Sunday mornings at 10 o'clock, I could have 2 hours to myself. play sport, get a little exercise in, do whatever you got to do, and really focus, and that kind of reset the week. So not having that as an adult that has mental health problems, got problems. but again, you got to figure out different ways to win. So again,
Exactly.
you have to set yourself, straight in a way. You got to keep that, almost like chain and padlock, and put yourself in a spot, and get that compass right. And again, it's not easy. It's an everyday thing, but I don't know.
For sure.
If I'm not busy, I'm not sure what I'm doing with myself. That's for sure. When I got a day where I have nothing, it's like, ooh, what do I do?
Relax.
No, I don't know what that is. I don't do that.
I hear you. I really, it's funny because I am a recovering workaholic myself. So, but I found that I needed to slow my pace down, or else I would have completely burnt out. And I literally had to sit on my hands so that I would not jump up or go do something. So I totally get it. Like, I really have to be busy. And my husband and I are hockey coaches. So he's the coach. I'm the manager. Last year I had to be a trainer because we couldn't allow too many parents into the building last year. And this year, who knows what's going to happen. But we miss that. Like, we miss that interaction with those kids and pouring into those kids and molding up, seeing where they are from day one to the end of the season. And we really miss that. And it was unfortunate that we had to cut our season short this last season, and it was one of the best kids we had too. Like, such an amazing group. And I asked the parents if we could just get the kids around together and take a group picture, because it was to see. I love seeing my husband in that element and just watching him with the kids and things like that. And all the kids were amazing. So I ended up getting a group picture of everybody. And so at least we have that. We have memories and we have that, but I really can't wait to see what's going to happen, because like there's no recreational sports even for kids, let alone us.
It almost, I don't.
Sorry, you're breaking up. What was that?
Yeah, it almost makes you wonder, like how, what's that, what it almost makes you wonder, like what the reaction is going to be from kids and adults, and when if things open here. For some reason, they're obviously we're behind the 8 ball here in Ontario. We are not on the ball.
No.
It's just going to be interesting to see how we adapt back to it, because like even here where I'm at, I'm obviously in my RV, and you have people here that are like, oh my God, you had a visitor, calling the bylaw. Like, is that what we've got to here? It's like, I think people have just gone a little bit crazy in a way, and I just wish that we get back to normal and just get back to worrying about you and doing your thing, do whatever makes you happy.
Well, and I totally agree with that. And I will have to say, during this pandemic, I've been fine through most of it, but this last lockdown has really gotten to me in some days. And I had made a careless comment. I know when you had posted something about, because my dad does have cancer, and he lives in Chatham, 45 minutes away, and to be told I can't go see him was just too much for me. And I kind of lost it one day.
That's like mind blowing.
And
yeah, I know that to me is mind blowing, because at the end of the day, I look at it. I think the reply to you was, go do what you need to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, you at the end of the day, listen, not the lockdown, but family's your family. And at the end of the day, you're not going to see your dad. So you better go see your dad. And that's, I think, what I said to you was, well, don't post it. Go do it. Go do it. See your dad. Enjoy that time. And soak that in, because those are the things that you're going to remember, versus being told, hey, listen, don't do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it makes totally sense. And the thing of it is, like, I went. But my parents are like the whole time looking over their shoulder, and they're so worried because they go exactly by the law, and they're afraid to have people in there, which I get. So I go. I don't go quite often, but I go at least once a month, and I will be going quite more frequently now after today's news. But still, I mean, it's just. I said to my mom, you know what?
I
If
think
a cop's gonna pull me over and tell me that I can't go see my dad, then give me a ticket. Sorry, you're breaking out.
You know, again, I'm gonna just go back to what. Yeah, I'm just gonna go back to what I originally said. Was at the end of the day, you got to do what works best for you. And if that works best for you, that you got to go see dad, then you go see dad. I don't see how anybody can fault you or the next person for doing what works best for you. Because again, maybe that's your win.
Yeah. Exactly. Robert wanted to know when the lockdown was. It hasn't ended, really.
Hey, Robert, when wasn't it? Welcome to Ontario. Yeah. We've had a lockdown since I don't know, since the word
March of last year.
Yeah, we've been, and I think the biggest problem is, Robert, is that you know, for example, where the states kind of did their thing, and you look at other places like Australia and whatever, they did their thing. They did a proper lockdown. We've got this guy here in Ontario that he's pussyfooting around what he's supposed to do. I want to lock you down, but keep you open. Those are my friends. This one gets shut down. That one's not. And therefore, you haven't figured out how to lock us down. And therefore, we keep spreading. And therefore, that's why we are where we are. So again, I think it comes down to leadership. It comes down to what we're doing and the fact that we haven't had a proper lockdown. Hence why we haven't exited the lockdown, if that makes any sense.
And our friend Tim here says, in the US, things are starting to open up, and it's so weird as the transitioning to starting to happen. I'm not ready for people yet, and I'm a people person. So that goes back to what you said before, Greg. You know, like, how are we going to react once we start to open up?
Yeah, I know, no, and that's it, right? But again, I think it comes down to you're comfortable, you know, what you're comfortable with, and the levels of things that you do, and I think everyone's going to take that in stride in their own way and adjust to how they got to have that win, right? So maybe you're comfortable getting chicken wings and beer at a place. Maybe you're not. So maybe you're comfortable having family over. Maybe you're not. I don't know. So like you normally hear me on AM 800 on the round table, usually every Friday on the Dan McDonald Show between 9 and 10. And, you know, these are some of the things that we usually chat about is, you know, the lockdown, how, you know, how is it affecting people, and how are people, you know, responding to what they're responding to. And it's just, again, I think it's a lack of leadership. And, you know, obviously we're not here to talk about COVID or Doug Ford, but at the end of the day, I think this comes down to lack of leadership. And just at the end of the day, if he followed the science table that is recommended and sitting in front of his face, we would not be in the position we're in, and therefore businesses could reopen. Mental health could have some, you know, a little bit of a rebound, because I think it's going to take a long time for a lot of folks to get back to normal. And I think we just read that in the comment. He's not ready for people yet. So at the end of the day, I think, you know, you got to get back to some normalcy here. And again, it comes down to leadership, in my opinion.
So when can we expect Greg Lemay to go for Prime Minister, or the other one, Premier? No. Yeah, I think that should happen.
No, that's
Come
not
on, Greg.
Happen. No.
Come on. I think Ward 7 is just a little too tame for you.
No, I think at the end of the day, we'll give it one more kick at the can here, and a year from now, and that's it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you got to realize where you're at, and you also have on. And at the end of the day, you give it one more kick here, and you know, hopefully it works out. Hopefully the third time's a charm. And at the end of the day, you give it what you can, but again, you respect the electorate. And at the end, I always look at it this way and say, you gotta figure out, you know, when you've overstayed your welcome. And you know what I mean. You can only be so active in politically or whatever as long as you can be to where you're not relevant. So again, yeah, one more run, we'll get through it, and we'll see what happens, and then you got to move on, and that's it. So what, maybe that if there's another loss here in the cards, then maybe you focus back on the business, and now you grow it in a different way, or
Right.
I don't know, you open up a kitchen like I'm doing. I don't know, right?
Oh, Greg, it's been awesome having you on here. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you have a very busy schedule. And is there any last words that you want to leave our viewers with?
Well, in a way, yeah. I just like I said, just kind of going on what we talked about here. I think, like I said, you have to set yourself up to win, and if you don't, you've got problems. You're getting out of bed with obstacles in the way already before you left the door. So, and I again, it took me forever to learn that. It took me probably 32 years to figure out how to leave on a good note, to exit, to move on, to get moving for the day. Most people drink coffee. I've had like 4 coffees in my entire life. I don't drink coffee. I don't, you know what I mean? That's not how I get up. I don't eat breakfast. I used to. I don't anymore. I get up. I set myself up for the win. I try to move on, and you know what I mean, and try to have a good day, and that's it. And I think that's, like I say, you get things we put into them. And for me, like I said, I put everything I have into this community and my daughter, and I try to do things the right way every single time. There's, when you catch yourself doing something wrong at some point, you try to put yourself back on track to make sure that you're not doing those things. So you got to have that little filter and that little correction tool. So at the end of the day, these are things that I've learned over time. And again, this could come down to 5 programs of post-secondary, and taking these little tools out of A, B, C, and D, and E, and putting those things into how I'm living life. So I think if you're living life right, and you're trying to live life right, you might be able to, focus on, the proper things to get you on track. So
Right.
that's kind of where I'm at. What was that question? I saw something about
Sorry, I was going to put it back up. How
tourism been holding up?
Yeah. I know Justin allocated billions of dollars.
Yeah. Okay. So one of my best friends is obviously the MP of Windsor-Tecumseh, Eric Kazmierczuk, and he's obviously a liberal. How are they holding up? Again, without getting there to see travel, like, I don't know, like, what do they say about the news? If you read the news, you're misinformed, and if you don't read it, you're uninformed. So, you know what I mean? We're going by news stations. We're going by, social media. I don't know how much stock you want to put into that, because I don't, to be honest with you, I haven't been on a reserve. I haven't been anywhere in the last 2 years, really. So at the end of the day, it's kind of hard to answer that question, because if you're going by the news, like I said, you're either misinformed or uninformed. And I don't, you know what I mean? It's kind of hard to answer that question.
Right. Although in the news this past weekend, or on social media anyways, the 215 children that were found deceased in that schoolhouse in Kamloops, that makes me want to vomit when I see that story. That is so sickening.
There was an article that just came out. Yeah, there was an article that came out today about that, and they were, I can't remember what the government was doing, but there was something allotted. I don't know if it was like flat, I don't know. Something that the Liberal government was doing today, with respect to the situation that you just brought up. I can't remember the exact details of, I kind of glanced at it right before we jumped on here.
Yeah,
but
there's supposed to be 215 minutes of flags at half mast, I believe, is what it was supposed to be.
Yeah,
if I read that
could
correctly.
Be it.
He said Robert owns a tourist business in Alaska, and it's centered around indigenous tourism. So
indigenous tourism, yeah, that's interesting. Very interesting.
Robert has his own show as well, and actually, he had a movie producer on today. I forget the guy's name. I watched half of it, and then I got a text from my dad, so I had to shut it down. So, anyways, yes, there's lots of people in this community, Greg, and over on LinkedIn too. I don't know if you want more business, hook up on LinkedIn as well.
No.
If you don't, then stay where you're at. But if you need help with your business and you need more getting people hired, we can help you bring people over to you. How's that?
That makes more sense because, like I said, I go to do one house and there's 25 more on the chart, and it's like, well, okay, we'll get there at some point. I'm just trying to read that message that just popped up.
He said he's so
frustrated because I was reaching out to the government for assistance. Yeah, no, you're right. Canada, but again, you got to look at things in a different perspective. You know what I mean? Canada's, I think we're trillions of dollars in debt right now. That my kids won't pay that off. So I don't know, man. Like you got to look at that in perspective as well, right? And look at it on a business end, because I look at that like, if anybody handed out money like that, your business would be closed, right? So I kind of see, I understand the personal and whatever end of business or whatever else as a country, but at the end of the day, if you look at the books here, we are kind of a business, and if you know what I mean, you got to handle that and treat that in a way as well. And we're giving away money. Well, at some point you don't have a middle class, right? And at some point you're just going to constantly be paying taxes like we are, and it's not a win. That is not a win. That is not a way to set yourself up for the day.
Yeah, no, that is true. That you, anyways, I totally get it. If we talk politics, I might get a little bit aggravated. But
no, that's why I try not to talk politics. even though I'm so politically charged, I just try not to.
Well, and then if I throw my sense,
either you lose friends quickly or you're going to gain a couple, right?
Oh, and I see it as, the thing of it is, you're educated on all of that, and I just listen to what people have to say, and I make my own opinion of what I hear, and then but honestly, I'm really frustrated with how we're still in lockdown. But now we can legally go see up to 5 people in a backyard somewhere as of Wednesday. But that's all I know.
Yeah, I don't. Again, you know what I mean. As I said on the Dan McDonald show on AM 800, is that again? I think he pussyfooted around things, and that's why we are where we are. Yeah. And lockdown 4 is going to become 5, and then 6, and then 7, and then 8, and then 9, and this is never going to end until he figures out how to trust his science table. And Doug Ford just can't figure it out. He can't. It's like he's just not. He's not paying attention to what's in front of him, and he's going to do what he wants to do. So again, remember when this coronavirus started, Doug Ford's net worth was like $4 million. Now it's like 40-something million dollars. So what does that tell you?
Well, I heard that he owns the label company that makes those labels for all this COVID crap. Oh, walk on this so many feet away from each other. I don't know. I just hear things.
Well,
and
like I said,
you just up to 40 million.
his net worth just jumped $40 million since COVID started. So I think he's enjoying the lockdown.
Greg for Premier. I'm just putting it out there.
I'll stick with my chicken and ribs and floors.
Okay, so one last dying question, and I know it, but for our viewers that have not been paying attention or that are not in Windsor, who is going to win tonight's playoff game?
I'm hoping Montreal.
Oh no!
It's going to be the Maple Leafs. Listen. You know what? I actually have it on right above my head here.
Oh, do you?
But the thing is that listen. I want to tell you 2 things before we head off. The last time the Maple Leafs won a playoff series was 2004. Think about the kids that were born in 2004. They now have their driver's license.
Okay.
Think about that. They have their driver's license.
But
So
it
the
takes
last
the
time the Leafs won
pandemic
a
for the
game-
Leafs to win.
Oh, no. Listen, the Leafs are gonna match the record tonight, going 0-8 in closing series. It's gonna be an NHL record. They're gonna lose this game. Price gonna stand on his head. That's it. And listen, all the Leafs fans should just get used to their black and white TVs because that's the last time you won. Sorry.
Greg, I put it out there at the beginning of this pandemic, and I'm going to say it again. It took a damn pandemic for the Leafs to win, and we're winning tonight, and we're going to bring that Stanley Cup home.
Not a chance.
I declared it. I declared it.
Listen, you sound like every Leafs fan. You guys have one win in the season, and you're planning the parade already. It's not happening.
We have three, obviously, or else we would not be.
You are not. Hold on. You guys are not beating Tampa Bay. You're not beating Colorado. You're not beating Vegas. You're not beating any of those teams. And you probably won't beat the Jets, even if you do move on tonight.
Oh, you sound like my husband. Anyways, one of you alpha males is enough.
and I'm gonna. No, wait a minute. Before you leave, listen. The Leafs, you got $80 million in cap space, okay? And you have 4 players making half of your cap. How do you expect to fill out a roster? You have no defense. You can't win. Defense wins championships. Just like little notes at the door. You got to have them on the way out. You got to win. They're not built to win.
Well, we'll find out. What's the score right now? Because I don't have it on. My husband has it on in the other room.
0-0.
What are we in the second? No, we have to be in the second or third inning by now.
First intermission. Inning. Are you playing baseball?
Oh, you know what I mean. It's all the same. Period. Inning. Whatever.
No, it's not.
It's all the same.
No, it's not.
Okay,
I see you said I played defense for 10 years.
Yeah.
I see you said I played defense for 10 years, Robert, and I'm going to tell you right now, defense, I still play it in soccer. I still played it in hockey. At the end of the day, defense wins championships. If you can lock down the house, you're going to win. The Leafs don't have it. The Leafs are pretenders. They're not contenders, and they're going to be bounced. And hey, listen, at least Doug Ford got something
me
right.
On my show.
Wait a second. At least, listen. At least Doug Ford got something right here. He opened golf just in time for the Leafs to play it. Sorry.
I liked you up until just then.
Sorry.
No, you're not. I understand.
No.
Robert's
I'm
laughing.
not.
Oh my God. I think if I put you and my husband together, I would never get it. If I had you and my husband together, this could be dangerous.
Listen, if you're not going to be honest in life about everything, then just don't bother. And I'm telling you, they're not good. That Canadian division's horrible.
I wonder if my husband's even listening to this because he's probably agreeing with you. But anyways, when I go back out with her,
he'll be laughing. Like, he's probably under the desk laughing.
Oh God, no. He doesn't come on the show. He doesn't watch the show. He supports me by doing it, for allowing me to do it. Let's put it that way.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyways, it was. Oh wait, Robert's got one more thing. There's the hockey game over, fixing the road. Ha 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 ha.
Well, Toronto has a lot of broken roads, and there's a lot of broken ones between here and there. So, when our Premier's got a Leafs jersey, hey, listen, when our Premier has a Leafs jersey on today saying Leafs, judging by what he's done over the last year and plus. That goes to show you the character of these Leafs fans. Run.
So Greg Lemay for premiere. Sounds like a country song to me.
It does.
Oh gosh. Anyways, Greg, I just want to say thank you for like you said, coming on tonight, and this has been truly fun. And if your listeners want to listen in, definitely, I can send you some information later if you want the video, but we'll talk about that afterwards. Anyways, I just want to thank you for being on, and thank you to our listeners. God bless the broken road and the Leafs.
Hey, are you Gary Lemieux or Jay DeMarcus with your "God Bless the Broken Road"? Roscoe Flats.
Oh my gosh! I'll see if he answers before we close it off.
See, you should have never brought up the Leafs today.
Well, I saw your comment.
Hey, by the way, it's 4-0 Montreal.
You said it was nothing, and they were in intermission a minute ago.
I'm totally lying. It's 0-0. I just love seeing your panic.
See if I donate to your cause next time. Next time I'll go somewhere else.
Here, look.
Okay, there we go.
There you go.
All right.
You can't lie to the TV, right?
No, you can't. Anyways, thanks you all to our listeners. Greg, just hold on a minute. Thank you to all our listeners, and thanks again, Greg, for being on tonight. And go Leafs, go.